Always a pleasure having you join us. This is the New Times Newsweekly Review, where we take a look at the stories that made headlines in the course of the week. I am Lavi Mutanganshu. Kicking off our review, President Paul Kagame this week appointed 2 new ministers and 2 governors, among other changes. The new cabinet members are Jean-Marie Vianney Gatabazi, who became the Minister for Local Government, and Beata Habyarimana, an economist with over 15 years of experience in the financial sector, who became the new Minister for Trade and Industry. Meanwhile, Dansire Nyirarugero was appointed Governor of Northern Province, while Emmanuel Gasana was deployed in Eastern Province, and long-serving Alphonse Munyentwari was replaced by François Habitegeko in the Western Province. In other news, a cabinet meeting held this week gave a green light to interprovincial travels as COVID-19 cases drop. However, Bugesera, Nyanza and Gisagara district are still under movement restriction. Also resumed are physical meetings with COVID-19 testing required for gatherings that exceed 20 people. On this note, the participants should not exceed 30% of the capacity of the venue where they are meeting. Now, as we wind up our first segment, the Directorate of Immigration and Immigration urged about 100,000 old passport holders to acquire new ones before the ones they have expire in June this year. Rwanda started to issue East African Community electronic passports in June 2019, and they are expected to boost faster border clearance as well as part of a wider regional strategy to enhance integration. Now, welcome once again. This is the second edition of our news review, where we take a look at that one story that trended most in the course of the week. Today we'll be discussing about the story that came out on Wednesday, a sad story of the death of President John Magufuli of Tanzania, who it was said that he succumbed to heart complications. Now, today we'll be looking at some of the legacy that he's leaving behind, most especially taking a deeper look on the economic side. Joining me today is Dr. Teddy Kaberuka. Thank you very much for joining us today. Today, as I've just said, we'll be taking a look at the legacy that Magufuli is leaving behind. You're in this field very much, you're always in this field. So what are the main things that Magufuli will be remembered on as far as the economy is concerned?
Thank you so much. I think Magufuli will be very much remembered not only in economy but in the broader political space of the continent, and more specifically for Tanzania. But with the focus on the economy and the governance, his style of governance was different from his predecessors. First of all, when he took the power, the first thing he did was to fight against corruption, and that was like his very big achievement. We know how much the corruption has affected the economy, so he had made it a priority for his government, and he had done a lot. If you see different initiatives he took, like changing the way business was run by the government officials. So that showed that he was very passionate to manage well the resources of the government, but also fight corruption. That was really made him exceptional compared to other heads of states. Yeah. And that will be a very big legacy he had left to the world. Whoever should take the power should immediately put in action his priorities. The first day he was in the office, we saw him acting immediately on the corruption, on the governance, on the public fund management, on public fund spendings. He had done a lot. At least for the first 2 years for his first term. He had also done a lot in terms of focusing on the domestic production of Tanzania. We saw how much infrastructure development was done during his first term. Construction of road, construction of the railway, the electrical railways, the construction of the airports, investing heavily in the airlines. Air Tanzania was like revived during his first term. Those are big achievements. And to put together all those big projects, actually he has taken the economy of Tanzania. Now Tanzania is aligned among the middle income economy. That was something unforgettable during his term.
Yeah, can we say that what led to those big achievements was basically in fighting corruption and reducing on public spending only, or there were some other tools or techniques that he used by then?
Well, I would say he had combined different approaches, actually. He had, I would say, he fought on different fronts. On the side of government spending, on the side of corruption, and then on the other side, he has pushed a lot in public investment and domestic production. So he had played on both sides, which together, when they go together, they really grow the economy very fastly.
Now on Friday, we saw the one who was the vice president becoming or swearing in as the new president of Tanzania. Her name is Samia Suluhu. What are the major responsibilities awaiting her, of course, comparing to the legacy that he's the former president of Tanzania, John Magufuli, who passed away, is leaving behind?
I think the first challenge the incoming president will meet would be fighting against COVID-19. People have been like a year plus in the denial of accepting the pandemic, and now she has to change from A to Z. So we saw yesterday after announcing, they announced that people should wear masks, respect social distancing, wash hands, So it means they realize that the pandemic is very dangerous. And that has to go beyond the social distancing and the wearing mask. It requires also the government to spend heavily in testing, in vaccine. Now the vaccine is available in different countries. So those are priorities for her to at least to stabilize the health of the population, and then continue with other government priority in terms of investment. There are so many infrastructure development still going on, so they need to maintain that speed. And the regional integration should also be a priority. We saw in the in the last few weeks, we saw issues between Kenya and Tanzania on the agriculture products. She needs to address those issues, otherwise the economy of Tanzania needs to keep growing on the same pace.
Because of time, we'll not be able to proceed any further. I just want to thank Dr. Teddy Kaberuka for making time for us, and we hope that even next time you'll be with us whenever we invite you. Thank you very much. And we also want to thank you for being with us and watching this week's New Times News Weekly Review. We just want to remind you that if you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so on the New Times Rwanda. I am Lavi Mutanga, and should see you next week.